Welcome back, everybody. 7CR here. We got Fate Spyro, Gear Shifter 09. I'm your Tibbercat. It's going to be a good one today. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to try and... we're talking movement and stasis. And it's about to get chilly in here, ain't it, Fates?
I hate you.
I mean...
stasis jokes. I hate you.
Don't be cold. Don't be cold.
We're in January. It came out in November.
This is all day. Anywho, I'm a Titan main. Fates is a hunter. Chance is a warlock. We've all dabbled with stasis. I honestly think I'm the one that's embraced it the most. I have honestly not swapped off Behemoth since I equipped it.
Outside of having to run Celestial and PvE, I've been straight Revenant in PvP this entire time since it came out.
Yeah, I'm Void till I die, and or until someone needs a well. But I'll pick up stasis if we're doing a nightfall and you need them overload grenades or whatever.
Okay, so we're gonna tackle the stasis topic first. If you follow anybody that plays PvP on Twitter this week and pretty much the leading up to this week, it's all kind of just built that stasis is what everybody is saying is the problem with PvP right now. I'm going to disagree wholeheartedly because we'll get to my thoughts after a little bit. But Fates, what you got first?
With stasis being the problem with PvP, I would absolutely disagree. I think there's a lot of other things going on that...
Hold on, I need to check and see if it's fucking snowing outside, because he disagreed with me.
I think there's a lot going on that would lead people to believe stasis is the problem.
Okay. I bet I have a feeling you're gonna. I have a feeling you're gonna tie it in with our second topic, movement.
Yeah. I will kind of go into it as we go. I'm not going to, I'm gonna give my gut reaction there to the question, and then we can dive in later.
All right. What you got, Gear Shifter?
Right. So I don't think stasis is the problem. I think it's kind of, for the most part, welcome. We needed the change. But I also think it needs some tuning in certain aspects. Just a little bit more. Other than that, we're good.
I'd agree with that.
I'm gonna go with that too. I do feel like it needs a little tweaks.
Yeah.
I feel like since each one of us plays each class, we can throw what we feel as tweaks, and the other two can critique us whether we're being fair. I know that y'all are going to ask for the sliding mechanic from the glacioclasm or cryoclasm or whatever it's called. I swear I play Titan. I just don't remember names. Y'all want that nerfed because the slide's too much. It's got the same cooldown as Antaeus Wards. It does not cause a slow. It does not do anything except let me move around a little quicker. Yes, Mr. Pyro?
So, I would agree with you if, and this is if, and I feel like it's going to be what ends up happening, the Glacier Wall grenades get tweaked, because they are...
The problem with the Glacier... I
don't think the slide is exactly the issue, right? Like, how many times do you see Titans sliding through Dustfield grenades or Cold Snap grenades, right? Like, that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily the slide's fault. I will say, however, it is extremely janky, and they need to fix it, because people can slide at you, and I've had it happen multiple times, whether it's in 6v6 or trials or in competitive, where Titans will be sliding and they just won't take damage. And it's not because of Antaeus Wards. I've seen guys using Dune Marchers.
That almost sounds like a latency issue.
It's like a latency issue because of the slide being... I don't know if it's... It happens a lot. Like, if you watch a Titan Taeson, there's like almost like you almost like shake across that last little bit of the slide. I don't know what it is exactly, but I don't think the slide is exactly the issue. If they were to tweak it, I would probably say maybe a little. If I had to pick if you're like they have to tweak it, what do you want them to tweak about it? I'd be like, all right, well maybe like make it a little bit, the cooldown a little bit longer, but. I mean, I don't think
the cooldown. I honestly feel like it's fine because
I'm saying if I had to pick something, like if I don't have to pick something, I would say it's not necessarily the problem. It's just a symptom to the glacier wall grenades.
Well, I think the glacier wall itself is not a problem. It's the aspect that increases the explosion of the crystals.
Well, yeah,
that's way high, but. They have said that come next season, they are adding new aspects, so that may get swapped out for something else. People may not find that as viable. When you have a warlock that can literally...
Wait. When you say swapped out, do you mean they're just adding new ones in and removing aspects? Because that would be terrible.
No, mean, like, they said that they're adding new aspects.
I'm like, that's some...
Or not Luke aspects Smith. Of fragments.
That's some real Luke Smith level shenanigans.
Don't Luke Smith my loot!
That's like severe monkey paw. Okay, we heard you that the explosions are too big. We're removing it from the game. It's been sunset.
Jesus,
that's horrible. I know that's one thing that a lot of people have complained about with the Titan. That and then the melee. The melee, honestly,
the melee doesn't work right. Like if you're using
it does require some finessing. You have to have played it for a while to get used to that. It's not a shoulder charge. It's almost so like I thought of a really unique way of comparing it. Everybody's used sidearms, Fool's Remedy, Last Dance, Last Hope, Travel's Chosen. Those shoot, for us console players, shoot on trigger pull, right? Devil's Ruin shoots on trigger release. That's how the Behemoth melee works. It's not on trigger pull, it's on release.
It's a muscle memory thing.
You just have to get used to you're doing something different. And once you get the timing down, it's amazing. Cooldown on it is long, but it's a very viable thing. Should you have it, you use the charge every time you use it. If it's not going to use the charge, they do need to decrease how far you can go with it. They need to put it in line with the shoulder charges of the other classes. If they're going to do that. If they're going to keep it at the range they have, it's perfect as is. I mean, as is, Titans do not have a way to consistently freeze outside the super. If you get pegged by the melee, you're slowed. Fun fact.
You yeeted into a wall.
Trick to not get yeeted into wall. You're hearing it here from 7CR. Melee the Titan as he's coming at you. The animation will hold you in place, and you will not get yeeted.
Works like PvE does.
Exactly. So
stomp mechanic.
Yep. If you're going to get stomped in PvE, melee, and you'll stay in place. Same thing with this.
I do have one thing I'd like to change about the Titan.
What you got?
Y'all are too fast in that super, and it lasts entirely too long.
I will say that it lasts way too long.
Okay, I will give you time on it.
Way too quickly. And your resilience is insane.
The resilience is, I mean, that's built. That's
insane. I mean, like Titan should be like.
The thing is, if you are doing that melee around, it eats super.
It does.
If you're the only way to kill with that super is hit the ground so it sends out ice everywhere, and hope you froze somebody, and either slide through the crystals or melee through the crystals. I mean, if you get a melee on them, if they are running high enough resilience, they will live through it. Granted, it's not like 6 resilience will make them live. I'm talking like they have to be almost 8 or 9.
It reminds me of like pre-nerf spectral blades, which were a problem. I don't know.
That I can give you. Time-wise, yeah, it is kind of high. I will give it that it does need to have its time reined in.
Other than that, I think it's a fun super to use.
Hell yeah. Hunter time.
Ooh, my turn.
Okay.
Shatter Dive, 100%. I'm not going to be one of those hunters who says it's fine. It needs
A cooldown. A
100%.
cooldown will make it in line.
I would say make it comparable to the Titan Slide. I mean, I think that's fair. I would also say maybe it doesn't need the damage it does on the slam.
That ties in with
Because
what we were talking about with the fragment that increases the damage.
I'm not even talking about the damage. So if you just slam, not around any crystals, you do 50 damage. I have used that slam effectively to stop people from healing while they're running away from me.
Okay, then I've never done that.
Does it have that big a radius?
It does 50 damage. Like I can hit people around like pillars. Last week's trials map. Was it the week before that? Whenever Javelin 4 was the map.
Last week.
There's that. Is it A point? I think, or is it C point? It's one of the. It's a point that's like outside, and then you can like run into the building. And then like there's like that little ledge there, but there's like a column there. I've literally hit somebody. Like if you hit on the side of that column and they're like on one, like I don't know, not necessarily the other side of the column, but like on like in front of it, you can stop their heal. I've done it before. It's honestly, I don't. If you're smart about it, you can stop a heal, which is super important in things like trials or competitive. So like it gives you the chance to either A, finish them up, or B, your teammate to get an angle on them so they can finish them up.
I feel like the Face needs to add on that, like a disclaimer. I do not condone these dirty tactics, but I know how to do them.
I wouldn't say it's a dirty tactic because it's not necessarily cheating because you're doing damage. Like you're not using the ice wall grenade. You're just literally using the slam.
But how can such a small, little, frail hunter do so much damage?
It's not even that much. You're really not taking much, but it's like almost like, so like I don't know if you guys have ever done it, but like if somebody's out of hand cannon range, like you hit them, you're only hitting a body shot for like 17 or whatever, but you're stopping that heal, which is what's important. Yeah. It's the same kind of principle. It's just up close and a little bit more damage. I will say the slam needs to be reined in a bit because running into that a lot is a pain in the butt, and I feel for people who aren't hunters.
What I would do as far as cooldown on it, it wouldn't be the same as cryoclasm because cryoclasm is supposed to be a movement thing. I would honestly say, I think it's Ice Hall Mantles that after the shield breaks, we have a cooldown that we can't. The Mask of Bacchus does it too. When you light shift, your dodge doesn't come back right away.
You want it to have the cooldown of a dodge?
No, not the cooldown of a dodge, but like how there's a delay in being able to use until it cools down. If you're gonna give it a cooldown like 1 or 2 seconds, that's fine. But make it where you have to have sprinted a certain distance before you can do it again. Because I mean,
I would say, and I've noticed this is an issue. I can throw that. And I don't have to like double jump or whatever you want to call it. Like I don't have to use the actual jump. I could just flat jump and slam.
Right.
Make it require the double jump.
Make it require the double jump.
I'm at least putting myself. And this is going to. I can't say it's necessarily different on PC versus console anymore with the next gen consoles being out and having field of view. But I know from my time on console, if you go vertical over somebody, more than likely, unless they're very good or have very good game awareness, they're going to lose you. It is not that way on PC. Almost everyone runs with increased field of view. If you are making silly jumps, you are probably going to die.
Why'd you talk about
I would say
my game last week? Like shit.
But no, like it's crazy because like people, it's definitely a change. There's definitely a difference between the two. Like because of the field of view, I know a lot of people don't have next gen consoles, so they don't have that,
Right.
ability to change their field of view. But I would say make it require the double jump because that's
fair.
going to at least put you, up here above, what's going on. Somebody could snipe you in the face, hand cannon you to death, whatever.
That's fair.
You give that, you make it require the double, and you give it like a 2-second timer, like the slide, and I think it's kind of fair. I'm sure that aspect is going to get reined in at some point. So,
all right, it's Warlock time.
All right. So I was having this discussion actually with one of the guys in the clan the other day. I had said that I think that the Warlock stasis super was maybe not the most balanced, but the most like tolerable to fight, at least for me as an overwarp. And somebody said to me that like the radius of the frost pulse, that like the right bumper when it raised in the air and shatter all the ice, is way too big. And I thought about it, like I have shattered somebody across Cauldron with that super, so he's probably right. That maybe needs to get reined in.
I would say.
But other than
okay,
that,
go ahead.
I mean, other than that, like they nerfed the melee, right? The I don't know, the staff melee thing.
Yeah.
They nerfed that, and then they brought it back to like tolerable levels. I think it's fine. I honestly wouldn't say I have a problem with it or any of the subclasses. My problem is more with like the dusk field needs personally, and the way that some of those work. I don't think they need to, in addition to freezing you, pull you in and then slow you, because you're screwed if you get hit by one pretty much and someone comes after you.
Yeah.
I think the void subclass, like the void vortex grenade, should do that. Personally, it kind of makes
more sense, right? Like
I don't mind the darkness subclass doing it, as well as if they make the light subclass kind of mirror it.
Right.
So like if they keep it like that, I think give it to the void subclass, give it to the that grenade,
right.
Vortex grenade, because I feel like that just makes sense. Like thematically, it makes sense. It makes less sense for stasis, but I'd agree with that.
I totally agree with the Shadebinder needing that the crystal smash from across the room. Yeah, that needs to be reined in, and not be able to hit through walls.
I would say not hit through walls. Other than that, I feel like Shadebinder is the most balanced class out of the three.
That's what I feel too.
Out of all three stasis classes, I feel like it is the most balanced. Now, originally when it came out, it was absolutely by far and large the best stasis subclass in the game. It might have even been the best subclass in the game.
I agree with that.
Now I think it's a lot better as far as balance goes.
Okay, life is good, but it could be better. You haven't seen Wonder Woman 84 yet. I understand.
Not yet. Yeah, I don't know. I think Warlock. I think they brought the melee back up though. I feel like honestly, I feel like the melee needs a little bit more.
They increased its aim assist last time.
I think it needs a little bit more. I've literally pushed it at somebody who was like maybe 5 meters away from me. It's just like, nah, psych. I'm just gonna keep going. I'm like, oh, okay, sure.
If you increase it anymore, it's the nerf's practically gone at this point.
I don't know.
The freeze times and everything are good now. Overall, I propose this change. Make it so right now resilience affects how much health you lose after breaking free of a freeze, right? Thematically makes sense. Make the other three things matter. The higher your resilience, the harder it is for you to be shattered. The recovery, the quicker you recover from a slow. And mobility, the harder it is for you to be slowed.
Okay.
I'm sure that those will be hard to code in, and I'm not even pretending to know about. What do they need to do, Fates?
So, do you remember the campaign Barracks is stuck?
Yes,
Right.
and shoot.
Like, help me.
Oh, you
And
could shoot your friend to get him out. That'd actually be a good idea.
% you should be able to shoot your frozen fire team members. That would
Yeah.
be so. That would be so cool.
And
That
then
would
everybody would run Lumina, so that way you could heal them on top of that.
That would be great.
There you go.
Imagine somebody running, or imagine a Titan running. Okay, I forget what it's called, but that new mask that they added in,
The
one-
scars.
Oh yeah.
so you got that one. You've got Lumina, and you're able to shoot your teammate out of, ice. Could you imagine?
It'd be nice. So give
Full
so
s-
much niche too.
So much support.
I am the support. I could see that. That would be good.
Yeah.
Overall, this is of course leading us into movement, and I know Mr. Pyro is going to agree with me on this because we've kind of talked about it before, but this is 7CR stuff. We gotta stop. Stasis itself is not the pain point. The pain point is playing against stasis. My thought is Destiny's PvP has revolved into movement. When we were talking about it just a little while ago, Fates was saying on console, if you can get vertical and go over somebody, you're probably going to win the engagement. The movement, the class ability movement, Icarus Dash, being able to get out of disengage from a firefight like that. Titans saving their shoulder charge to be able to maneuver easy. Hunters living with stompies on. They use Dragon Shadow. Whoops.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Backrest.
Wrong. Backrest all the way.
It's still movement.
Yeah.
My thing is that people have gotten where they rely on these movement abilities on exotics so much that they've let their game sense and positioning get dull. They've relied on these movement abilities to get them into position instead of letting these abilities be there to get you out of an engagement or whatnot. That people aren't thinking ahead like, okay, I'm going to be coming around this corner, I should already be jumping in the air and to be able to get a good shot, or I should be sliding around this corner. They just walk out and like, oh, Icarus Dash can save me. And that's not the same anymore because now here comes a shuriken from a hunter and you're slowed and you just kind of waddle in the air. Like, that's what stasis is about. It's the antithesis of what PvP has become about movement. Movement is being quick, being able to move. Stasis freeze, slows. All of this is the total opposite. So now people are having to doubt their playstyle, and they either A, can't because they've crutched movement so much, or B, don't want to. So, discussion time. Fates.
You know what I'd like to blame this on?
Luke Smith.
100%. All the time. I'm going to get a shirt that says I blame Luke Smith. Anyway. No. I would say 100%. Look at D1 movement compared to D2. Look how fast games are played now.
That's fair.
I think D2 would be a lot better. I mean, like, look at the D1 maps that they've brought back. Look at things like Rusted Lands and look how fast they play now, even for trials. Unless a team is specifically slowing the game down to where they're sword peeking, which, by the way, don't do that. It's bad.
I will shade stomp you.
Either they're sword peeking, all sniping. Unless they are specifically slowing the game down, matches are played fast. Really, really fast most of the time. And it's you add things in like just being simply quicker than we were, and then you add in things like the movement abilities. I think that's kind of where the problem comes from. Everything is just people depend on those things because base movement in the game now is just so much quicker. It really is. Like you can go back, you can D1, servers are still up. You may take forever to find a game, but movement was a lot slower then. It wasn't as fast as it was. They up base movement coming into this, and I think kind of lends it kind of. I mean, I would say that's even why maps feel so small in D2, right? Like we cover so much ground off spawn point. It's all about who gets to the lane first, who gets the, you know what I mean? It's there's no, I don't know, unless you're specifically slowing it down. You know, it's. I feel like that's kind of another reason stasis is such a problem for people to deal with, because it specifically slows you down.
Yep.
You know, you can't just Icarus dash through, you know, a lane or through a door or like, well, I mean, I can kind of backwards my way through a door, but you know, it's neither here nor there. Like you have to move with purpose, which is what we had to do in D1. And like we were having this discussion in was it the stream on Discord?
Possibly.
I think. Where people were like, "Oh, stasis is like ruined," and I'm like, "But, or you know, like it's about abilities now." I was like, "No, it's yeah." I mean, you're right. You know, having abilities and like you know having your grenade up and using your grenade in a good way versus just like I don't know. It makes you actually think. I feel like it makes you actually be thoughtful, which you know is what you were saying. I think we're getting back to D1. Really is what we're getting back to. It's just kind of a roundabout solution. In this case, instead of just being like, by the way, you're all slower now. Bungie was like, nah, here's a here's a subclass to slow people down.
All right. Chance, what's your thoughts?
I mean, realistically, I don't have like too huge an opinion on stasis as a whole. I don't find it like crazy annoying. Like everybody's like quitting the game over it or whatever.
I don't either. I really don't.
I don't think it's as big a deal as everyone's making out to be. But I also hear when people are like freaking out about it, and like I will admit that it does not feel good to be slowed or frozen. But that's obvious. It's not supposed to feel good to be slowed or frozen. I think in terms of changes for that like specific slow frozen thing, like when you're frozen and you press the B button to like shatter out of the ice, I feel like 9 times out of 10 I don't press that button because they're too close. They're close enough anyway. If they've frozen me, they're near me, so I'm gonna die anyway. And it's just the animation it takes to break out is, I think, unnecessary, and it should just auto break you out personally. But in terms of like fighting it, yeah, just you need more like map awareness, and you need more like game awareness. You need to know where your people are, where your enemies are. You need to know like nearest cover, etc., etc. And it's not just about like moving. Like we've had for the past 3 seasons, top 3 dons running around in like trials and whatnot, just Icarus dashing everywhere.
I'm sorry.
Really
I played that this last week. I'm sorry.
I mean,
don't worry, I don't judge you.
I would
explain
still,
it too.
I don't play it well.
it's so like I think when I made the comparison when I think I was actually streaming at the time and I was arguing with whoever was in my fire team.
Guilty.
It was like, oh, no. It's like, oh, it's all about grenades and like your super and like I'm like, okay, but like D1, so like I thoroughly enjoyed running my warlock in D1 because I ran things like nothing manacles and like
yes
things, you know, like or like I ran God, what are those
Stag.
I didn't run Stag. Stag was I ran Ram, but
no. Oh, the Ram.
Like,
sorry, I'm thinking
so
of
like,
the Ram.
My point is like there are exotics, right, that aren't just solely based around movement, that are based around your abilities.
Right.
That made you better. Like it wasn't even like so. I think the example I used was Sunsinger, right? Mm-hmm. Warlocks built their classes around Sunsinger, right? It wasn't just, oh yeah, you know, I'm going to win through superior gunplay or movement. It was, if I die, I have a reset button.
Yeah. And a shit ton of grenades to throw afterwards.
Exactly.
And
so,
a fuck ton of armor too.
Yeah. So it was an ability, right? Like I would consider that in the same vein as an ability. And his argument was, well, it doesn't recharge as fast as a grenade or whatever, which is true. But still,
it literally was saved for the one situation that you needed it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but here's that's the thing. We were all fine with that. I think we all fondly remember trials in D1 until they started messing with matchmaking.
And special economy.
And special economy. So until they started messing with things, people loved D1 trials, even with people self-resing, right? Like it wasn't like, it was like, oh, come on, guy. Like, but like there was people played around it. Like we didn't just go, oh, this is terrible. Like, look at this guy. Like, can't believe he sun singed. Like, oh, wow, God.
Boom. He res, boom, he got sniped.
Boom, here's 3 golden gunshots to your face. Like, here's a tether. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we played around it, right? It was D1 was like, the gunplay was solid, and like we all had good guns and this, that, and the other thing, and it felt good, but it was an ability-based game. Like, you played around either supers or grenades. It's just how it works. It wasn't just primarily gunplay. If you're looking for just straight up gunplay and like not abilities, go play Call of Duty. That's my opinion. Destiny's not going to be that. It's not going to be a game that you play for the competitive scene, right? Like, that's a whole different discussion that I'm not going to get into right now, because
we could do a whole episode on that.
I probably have some very unfavorable opinions when it comes to that. But you know what I mean? Like, it's not. It's a hybrid MMO shooter looter game, right? Like, it's meant to be ability based. It's not as bad as like Warframe PvP, where like nobody touches that because it's awful.
We don't go there.
But like everything else is, it's not just, let me spam ice wall grenades at you. Like, it makes you think about stepping into a lane, or like, can I push this guy, or can I grab heavy? Like, I look at the ice wall grenade. That thing is insane. It's insane. You can boost yourself up with it. It functions as a wall for it. Yeah, you can smash. You can freeze people, smash them with it. You can shut down supers with it. You can use it as a wall to res people, which is great as a hunter, since I don't have a physical Titan barrier. I think it changes the way that you play, and that's not a bad thing. I think it's just people are so used to. We've gotten 4 years of Destiny 2,
right? Well, the other thing that
4 years of Destiny primarily being a gunplay game, versus what it started out with in D1, where it was gun and ability, which is where I think we are now, or at least where we're headed.
Well, the other thing that a lot of people talked about is because you're seeing more build diversity, because people are having to run more resilience. They're finding out, I could actually run more grenades, more discipline, more strength. You're finding these other builds, and they're finding they're viable, but you're seeing more ability use to cover up that lack of game awareness with those glacier nades, because they are a barrier when you're not a Titan. And you see a lot of the things like that, and if you look, I know me personally, I've checked it. Shout out to an app, if you don't use it for your phone, Redrix is amazing. When you load up PvP, and as you're flying in, it'll tell you what map you're going into before it even shows up on your screen. So already 1 point for it. 2, it shows your trends as far as whether you're winning, losing, and how well you're doing. So if you're on a comp binge and you're wanting to win while you're ahead, you can see that, I'm starting to go downward. I'm going to stop here. 2, you can see your kills, and they're actually broken down by abilities and guns, and then it breaks the guns down to how many primaries to special kills. I will admit, I use sniper almost before this season. With all the sandbox changes, I pretty much only sniped. If I didn't have green ammo, I was probably trying to find green ammo. I use primaries are viable now. I freaking popped off with my hunter. You ready for the fates? Hunter play.
I was opening Redrix.
No, I'm just thinking of the fact that I popped off on a hunter.
I mean, Hunter Master Race. It's about time you joined the right subclass. I mean, roll on the ground gang.
Roll on the ground gang.
Roll on the ground gang.
From our earlier episodes.
I swear I'm gonna get some merch with like a hunter just tumbling.
Yeah.
I was using the Athersys Embrace, so those lovely double bounce gloves.
I find those hilarious.
Those are fantastic if you know how to use them. If you don't, watch Cool Guy's video. He is an amazing content creator. The TLDR of it, hit rapid shot, precision shots so that you get the strengthened knife. Strengthened knife, once you have that, it will body somebody for 202 damage. It will headshot for 400 and something damage.
Sheesh.
So the trick is to make it bounce twice before it hits the person you want to hit. So like, let's say there's a guy behind a wall. You hit the floor, hit the wall, and then after that second bounce, it will have as much aim assist as a Sentinel shield. And you're pretty much guaranteed to get a body at least after that. Speaking of, clip of the week, by me, using the Glacioclasm fusion rifle? I get that and the Titan thing mixed up. That's what my main problem. Anyway, popped a dude with the fusion rifle, and then this happened. Oh! We're clipping that. So, as you can see, you can get some good kills just having good game sense, game awareness, and knowing what you're doing and not having to move it so much. I took 2 steps and nailed that dude behind the wall. Continuing on with what we were saying, that match, I ended up dropping like a 40 bomb, and I literally only used my primary, which I can't remember if it was Traveler's Chosen or the Fusion or the Chattering Bone Pulse at that time, and my throwing knife. I did not pop off with a super. I did not use a special. Literally only those 2 things, and I dropped a 40 bomb. So it's doable. You just gotta change it up. And this is coming from the guy that does not play Hunter. You just gotta mix it up.
I mean, we're the best class.
I mean, I know a Void Lock that would probably disagree with you.
I mean, it would be the second best class. I love Void. That's why
I'm digging Stasis Titan. I like yeeting people off the map, like with that melee. It's so fucking good.
If we're just talking purely like subclasses, this is like one of my favorite Warlock. It's probably my favorite Warlock class, but more with the Nova Bomb versus the Nova Warp. Just because I like the old school, Nova Bomb. It's satisfying. Anyway,
I don't know. It's just movement is a whole other thing. I guess it boils down to one of the big questions right now: stasis. Is it the problem in Destiny right now? I'm pretty sure we can both all agree no.
Yeah.
It is contributing, but not as a direct thing that get stasis out of the game and the problems are going to be gone. You take stasis out of the game, you're going to have the same problems that people are relying on movement and not gun skill. And now that guns are viable, their movement's not so viable anymore. One of the biggest problems I'm seeing as a primarily PvP player, I mean, this is the first season that I've done really any raid content, thanks to Primus Umbra. I've ran more raids in the past. How long have I been here, Chance? 2 months? 3 months?
I would say 3 months.
I've ran more raids in this 3 months than I have in my entirety of Destiny.
I tell you, this is the first time I've raided in D2. But my reason for not raiding in D2 has nothing to do with like my inability to raid. It's more so being paranoid about LFGing a group.
And they be shitters on stream. Yep.
Yeah.
I understand.
Because I used to Sherpa in D1 all the time. Everything. Like I knew raids back of my hand.
I unintentionally Sherpered our first run through Deepstone Crypt. I just started reading the thing. I was like, this is what we're supposed to do, guys. I feel like the main problem or main contributing problem for people being so sore about stasis and other woes in PvP is... I'm not one to be critical, but I'm about to be hypercritical. Bungie does not care about PvP. They have not done anything to enhance this experience. This expansion took stuff away, which I understand with sunsetting. I'm not even going to try and touch that. But before this, there has not been a vendor refresh. There's just been guns that we've had before come back. Armor's new, so yay. And the fact that sometimes some of these vendors are having really high stat rolls. Shout out to my boy Devram out in the EDZ. Check him daily.
He's been a stud since coming back.
Dude's got fired. Like,
except for us hunters, because he hates us.
Well,
I mean,
the loot aspect for PvP has been slim. We get a lot of blues every match. Okay, yes. More mats, cool. Tokens, I'm gonna turn them into shacks. I'm gonna get purple. Oh, the roll sucks. Delete.
I'm curious.
Go ahead.
I don't want to stop you. We're talking about tokens. How many do you have? Out of curiosity.
I blew through a whole bunch at the very beginning because there were certain guns I wanted.
How much did you have at the start of the season?
About seven. I had about 7,000 or so. I'm down to 2
right now because I've got the app on me open right now. Give me a second.
I've got the game open. I can read mine. I blew through them all before the season dropped because I, wanted to be prepared or whatever. And now I'm sitting on like 2,000.
That's about where I'm at.
I have 8,141.
Yep.
I have not used a single token. I was saving them, intending that, Bungie is releasing new armor. Okay, cool. Maybe it'll be useful. I don't like that Shaxx doesn't give things that can't roll 6. Like, why does Shaxx not give things that can roll plus 60? Like,
so
the only chance of 60 plus armor is either trials, or I PvE, or I grind a ton of Iron Banner and pray to God that I don't get a bunch of useless guns that I don't want. Other than
Shaxx can give 60 armor. I've gotten it from them.
How
though?
Exactly.
In 3,000 tokens, I want to say I got maybe 3 or 4 pieces.
That's disgusting.
That's absurd.
It is, but I mean, you got to think though. 60 stat armor is supposed to be kind of a pinnacle reward that you're not supposed to get it often from a vendor like that.
So why doesn't it come from, say, I don't know, when you go up? And it doesn't even have to be the sub level. It could be from Brave to whatever's after Brave in the comp playlist. Why can't it come from that?
It could.
It should.
I agree.
Comp outside of going unbroken, or just because you enjoy comp, has no purpose.
Pretty much.
Yep.
Yeah,
and this is Chance Chance is chiming on this, and he lived in the comp playlist for a long time.
I love playing comp, like with a fire team, getting up to like so close to legend, then just falling short. But I enjoy it. Like, it's a fun game mode. I enjoy it a lot more than I did previously. I think it was awful before, but like why is a PvP player, primarily PvP player, and I don't mind running raids or nightfalls or stuff like that, but there's only so much I can take. I can only run the same strike so many times as a nightfall before I want to just strangle Luke Smith.
So honestly, there's just nothing for us, and that's what a bit. I want to feel. I want to say that that's what's amplified to the other pain points. The other stuff is it sucks, but it would be bearable if we had quicker sandbox tuning. We would be bearable if we had separate tuning from PvE, so PvE players could be happy with Shatter Dive for all of its crowd control and whatnot, and PvP players can be happy knowing that if I go into a hallway, I'm not going to be hater stomped into oblivion. Like,
and even with that, like, I know people are like, but the changes could be too drastic. But like, even what we discussed, changes that would be acceptable, and I would feel like we are fairly representative of like the general populace of like the PvP playlist.
I will be the Titan ambassador.
And I feel like we're not we're not like absolute gods at PvP, right? Like we're not. We're good, but we're not bad. Like we're not just
I feel like the only person that could, in here that could say that they're really good would be Chance, because dude, he's unbroken multiple times.
okay, when I'm saying very good, I'm talking like people like Frostbolt or like Cammy. I'm not talking like guys like who I don't know what his KD is, but like I'm not talking like guys who are like 1.5s. I'm talking guys who are like upper echelon, like things that they're saying truly don't apply to the average PvPer. I would even consider, you know what I mean? Like it's just not. Like it's just.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, like I'm not saying he sucks. I'm not trying to say that at all. I'm just saying,
you and I are like slightly above average, and then Chance would be above average.
You can see, you'll see what happens. As long as there's communication and I have my caffeine, we're good.
Give me my caffeine.
Yeah, but like, so I honestly, I would say the problem that PvP players are experiencing with loot and like the upgrade system, because I think it's awful. But like shards, prisms, cores, like unless I PvE, and like I get you get those from the pass, you don't get those really. Like you get prisms if you get a couple precision shots here and there every few matches. I think I average like a prism a night if I'm lucky. And that's not because I miss my headshots. It's just because it happens so infrequently.
Like I seriously wonder if it's more likely to happen depending on that gun, because I feel like I get like 2 or 3 a night with a sniper.
I get one every headshot kill with a hand cannon.
I don't get them that often with a hand cannon.
There's where my RNG went. Chance stole it.
So, even then, so like it's something, but it's not enough. I would say Destiny as a whole has a loot problem.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
You got some cool raid weapons. You got some stuff from barracks that's cool. Some of it kind of is.
I'm still looking for a swashbuckler bow.
Oh yeah, I mean, like there are things there, but there's compared to everything that they took out, like it's just kind of. And I didn't expect them to immediately replace it. I knew this was going to happen. I knew that we would end up with a shallow loot pool, and this would be everyone's big complaint. I am still fairly anti-sunsetting. I think they could have just removed the pinnacles and could have called it a day. But, I think it's definitely an all-over Destiny loot problem currently, and I don't think it's going to get better.
In all honesty, I feel like the perfect solution would be to take a season, one season. PvE can sit out for one season, and they do nothing but Crucible fixes. Flesh out the story of Shaxx. Dude's a badass in the lore, and they don't even talk about it in-game.
So, why? They were talking... I saw a thread on Reddit where it mentioned how much Bungie was making off of the ornaments for the Dawning. I think it was the ornaments and then like the new stuff, like the armor pieces and stuff. And it was some obscene amount. I think they made like over $500,000. Like, was it $500,000 or was it 500 million? It was something ridiculous. It was a lot of money. It might have even been like $50 million. I don't remember. Don't quote me on numbers, but it was a lot for what it was. I'll have to see if I can find it, and I'll throw it in the 7CR Discord. But it was a lot of freaking money. Why is the sandbox team so small? Why? So if Bungie is truly invested in Destiny as a future, we're supposed to get what, another 2 years out of this? 3 years technically, 2 years and some change now. Why do we have like what? How many people work on the Crucible? There's like 3 of them left, isn't there? Like I feel like a bunch of them left, and then they never replaced them. Why is it so small? You can't tell me that like. I know there are people who hate Crucible and don't touch it, and like they just play PvE, and that's fine. But you can't tell me that like having a portion, like if all the PvP players left and never just decided, you know what, we're not going to buy anything ever again from Destiny. We're done. We're good. We're done. We're going to go play something else. You can't tell me that the money you're losing from that is.
It would hurt.
It's not something you can't just be like, oh yeah, we'll replace it. It'll be fine. You can't tell me that you're going to get it from somewhere else. Like, it's just... I have no problem supporting Bungie when they are doing a good job. I really don't. If I feel like the season's, like, good, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. You know what? I'll buy, I'll buy some silver. Sure, absolutely. But if the game's doing terribly, what incentive do I have? Like, I get nothing from my favorite activities. I have to go play things I don't want to play to get things. It's the same complaint reversed. Anytime like PvP play or PvE players have to hop in Crucible, there's nonstop complaining on Reddit. Why do I have to play PvE or PvP? This is terrible. Why?
Before anybody in the comment section goes off, Destiny's a PvE game. No, it's not. Crucible has been here right with the Strike playlist since the get-go. You have missions that make you go play a Crucible match as part of your introduction. It's part of the game. It's staying. We're here. We're not going. Anyway.
Destiny is a shooter looter without any loot. It's basically my point. And I don't want to say there's no loot, but there's a very small amount. And it's not a problem that's going to be fixed anytime soon.
The loot pool could use some love. It needs some feeding. Oh, yeah. It's a little anemic.
And let me say this. I'm not one of those people who has to say, oh, well, every gun needs to be new that they're adding. I would be 100% okay. They did it all through D1's life cycle, and everyone was fine with it. Vendor refreshes, but primarily were just reskins, right? Like it was just they changed the name. They took a blue, made it a purple, gave it some new perks, and that was that.
I'd be fine with that.
Like Lord Tidbit on it or whatever, and that was it. Yeah. At that point, I would be perfectly okay with that because you're not taking. It's not like I'm saying, okay, well, I want all new guns for trials every season. That I know, like them coding and putting in guns is highly, expensive from what I understand. They have to model it and stuff. It's not a case of, oh, well, that gun's in D1, they have to put it in D2. It's super easy, just copy paste. No, but like they could easily. There are enough blues. There are enough purples that are now sunset.
Greens that we don't even see anymore.
Greens that we don't even see anymore. There's enough stuff that they could go, okay, well, we're going to take this, and now it's purple, and here's your purple. Then you don't have to worry. You don't even have to put, like, your standard outlaw kill clip rolls on it. You could do what they did this season. I'm not even saying, like, okay, well, now that the Gnawing Hunger's, like, sunset, put out a new Gnawing Hunger. I know Gnawing Hunger's not at sunset right now, but example that I know a lot of people were upset with of rivals and stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't even have to be like, okay, well, you have to regrind a whole new gun. There's plenty that you could use before it gets to that point.
Right.
And I just don't understand why that's not an option. It would be the easiest, cheapest solution to the problem, other than just ignoring everybody, which seems to be kind of the route they took as far as, Beyond Light's launch.
Yeah.
Gun stuff.
Well, let's see if we can wrap it up in one sentence. Stasis. Not the problem.
Nope.
Destiny has become a loot game with no loot, or skimpy loot. PvP needs some drastic love instead of being the redheaded stepchild in the corner. Hunters are bad, right? Oh, damn! Sorry.
I would say, hang on. They updated the whole system on the back end, right? Like, why does PvP's updates, like, why do we not get them, right? Like, it took the whole thing was, oh, we updated the engine so we can introduce PvP or updates quicker. Here's your time.
Well, they did the nerf to the Warlock
super quick.
Like, was really quick.
The nerfs are quick, but the
balance is lacking.
Hold on here. Hang on. They're gonna have fun with that? Nope. Hang on. Wait a season. Wait a season. Anyway, I'm sorry. I had to.
We're 7CR, 7th Column Radio. I'm TK. If you want to find me, you can catch me at twitch.tv/Tibbercat. You can also see my links for Twitter and other socials down below. Fates, where can everybody find you?
Pretty much everywhere now. I even have a TikTok now, by the way.
What?
Yeah, I was watching something. You and I will talk about this after we're done. But Fates_Pyro, either just that or Fates_Pyro TTV. Some places just, so the Twitch is kind of linked there. Yeah, pretty much everywhere now.
And Chance, where can everybody find you at?
Just GearShifter9 everywhere except TikTok. I don't have one of those yet.
I've been debating it. We'll see. Until then, we'll catch y'all in the next episode. Catch y'all later.